Hey y'all, welcome back. This is Michelle from Michelle's Empty Nest, and today I wanted to share a walkthrough of my March prompt and responses for One Little Word 2022. So as a reminder, I'm using the 6x8 binder as well as the folio. I kind of like having the structure of the binder and a little bit of more freedom, looseness with the folio. They kind of speak to different parts of my brain, and I like exercising both of those parts of my brain. So we'll go ahead and look through my 6x8 binder first. And I will say that my neighbor is out with his very loud leaf blower, so I'm hoping that you hear my voice instead of the leaf blower, but if you hear it, I apologize. It seems like every time I turn my camera on, a neighbor is doing something. So bear with me if you can hear that. So for March, it was all about poetry, writing a poem, and Liz was the leader. If you're not familiar with how One Little Word has been set up this year and last year, Allie invited different people to be instructors for different months and to lead different prompts. And so Liz walked us through poetry. That's her thing, and she's very good at it, and she is just, really into finding good poetry and sharing poetry. And so I am not. I always seem to struggle in high school and college. If we had to analyze poetry, it was just a struggle to me for some reason. I think because my mind is so much more analytical and numbers based, I just struggled with it. So I was really worried about this prompt, but the way Liz walked us through it was so good. And you'll see kind of like a flash of some of the things going by that she shared and created for us. But of course I won't be like heavily focusing on it because it is paid content for that class. So I'll kind of just explain to you a little bit about what happened for some of it. So for the cover sheet, the March transparency, I decided to go with some butterflies for this month. So I just stapled 3 of those on there. And I'm continuing the trend of using the March little Polaroid frame and then using a fabric patch. And I created this myself. As you can tell, it's not perfect stamping, but I used the One Little Word stamp and one of Allie's inks. Oh, it's a green one. Which one is it? Hold on. Hold please, hold please. It is Willamette. I used the Willamette ink to stamp out this just kind of as a repeated pattern. I needed something for a filler. And then this card at the bottom was from maybe a couple of years ago, and I just cut it in half because that was what pocket I had available to me. So it says, I hope there are days when you fall in love with being alive. And so that was a very poignant quote for me. And then on the back, I'm still putting chipboard or some kind of fabric, something round on the back to kind of cover up part of the front circle. This is You Are Exactly Where You Need to Be. And again, that would have been from a couple of years ago. And then I put 2 pictures from the month, one showing my new piercing. Well, actually, it was a kind of a re-piercing of one that I let grow up at the top of my ear. And then an extreme milkshake that we had on my Live Day when I got my Live tattoo, because March was a year since I had my struggles, and am thankful that I chose life over death that day. Then I just found a green piece of paper, and I know this is probably going to be really hard to see, but I cut it out of a 4x6 card, and it says, "Note to self, keep showing up," and it's like a silver foil. And so I just wanted to put that there again. I needed a bit of a filler. And then I'm going to kind of just flip by those for just a second. What we did was answer a series of questions as ourselves, and we answered those same questions as we were our word, from the perspective of our word. So if it said, "What is your favorite color?" I would answer my favorite color as Michelle is pink. And then if I thought about what Rise's favorite color might be, it might be orange or red or something that, to me, the rising up from the flames is just the image that I keep getting. And so we really, kind of had to dig deep to answer some of these questions from the perspective of our words. So that was kind of the first part. And then we did something where we took it, I'm reminding myself what order we went in here. We kind of took those answers and put them side by side so you could easily compare how you answered versus how your word answered. And sometimes there were similarities, and sometimes there was, a good bit of difference there. And then let me shift over here for just a second. Because I think we did this next. Yes. Then we did something called the bones, where I would compare it to like a grown-up Mad Lib for poetry, where you kind of filled in the blank a little bit with some of the words that you had chosen from your answers before in those conversations. And I hope that's making sense. And you put it all together and you come up with a poem. So I will go ahead and read my poem to you, and then I'll let you look inside of my folio. So my poem is called Rise. I just thought that was appropriate since that's my word. And it says, "I sit in my favorite, most comfortable chair in my warm and cozy home, hopeful and longing for more. Rise says, I see you being determined and optimistic. I find hope in my previous successes. I feel joy when there is music floating around me. I marvel at just being alive and breathing still. Rise reminds me that I am always moving forward. However, I know anxiety and depression are still lurking in the shadows, and I remember the struggle of trying to keep up with all the demands of my life. Rise whispers, I see you overcoming obstacles every day. I long to be courageous. I wish for more meaningful connections. I want to rekindle the spark that was the old me. Rise screams, you are bold and loved and burning with potential. My path ahead may look long, narrow, and time-consuming, but it is absolutely possible to reach the end of it and be ready to choose another path when the time is right. Rise tells me I can achieve anything I set my mind to. I sit in my favorite, most comfortable chair in my warm and cozy home, joyful and growing in strength. And I wrote that on March the 12th of this year. So that is all that I included in my binder for the March prompt. Oops. And then for the folio, for my March picture, I put one of my nose piercing that I got and said I was able to rise above the fear and the pain. So if you've been watching along with me, I'm trying to include rise somewhere in the sentence for each of the photos of the month, the little monthly self-portraits. And yes, I did go a little haywire. On my live day, I got my nose pierced. I did the ear cartilage re-piercing, a little bit different spot, but put that piercing back and got the tattoo all in one day. I'm not going crazy. I'm not going over to some kind of motorcycle gang or dark side or anything like that, even though those people are perfectly fine. I am still myself. I'm not trying to be anyone else. If anything, I'm expressing more of who I am. And if who I am means I have some tattoos and extra piercings, then that's who I'm going to be. I'm not going to hold back the things that I wanted to do before, worried about what other people think, or their opinions or anything like that. So I don't know. These were just things I wanted to do to celebrate my Live Day, my 1-year anniversary. And so I did them, and they have made me very happy to have them. Now, for the tab this month, I used Embracing, so that takes us to March. And this crazy picture was awful. My hair was so needing a washing. But it says, when you can no longer see to sew or cross stitch, you rise above the embarrassment and order these beauties from Amazon. So they are a lighted pair of magnified glasses, and there's different strengths, and they are wonderful for stitching. Also, they'd probably work for quite a few other crafts that you really need to see close up. So I listed out my monthly goals. The only thing I didn't do was start chiropractic care. I want to do that for my pain. I'm just really worried, since I've had surgery before and I have some spinal fusion, that I don't want to mess anything up. So that's the only thing I didn't get done. And for my reflections, I put March was good and very much needed. My first anniversary of my Live Day arrived, and it was everything I hoped it would be, and then some. Olin helped make it even more special and meaningful for me. This month's prompt was so far out of my comfort zone, or any zone, that I loved doing my poem. And for the wins, I put my Live Day, my second tattoo, and also our anniversary was this month. And then this is what Liz called the bones. And so this was kind of where you took the parts and pieces and began to put them together. And then I just included another copy of my poem, a finished poem, in here. And that finishes up for March. So quick, simple walkthrough there. I don't have any of April's things in here yet because I want to film that as a like a more of a process video for you. I think maybe that might be interesting for what I'm doing in the month of May, or yes, May. April. I don't have April in here yet because I want to film it for a process video. I'm filming this right at the beginning of May, and I have done April's work, but I just need to compile it all together. And then I've already also started on May's practice, where you pick something and do it every day. So I've got all that coming down the pike for you as well. So thank you so much for stopping by today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would love a thumbs up down below, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'll try to do some close-ups at the end, as well as over on Instagram, and I would love for you to follow me there as well. I'm inching up towards 1,000 followers over there, and that just makes me very happy. And I share things over there that never make their way over here to YouTube. So I will leave it here for now, and until I see you in the next video, take care of yourself and do something good for yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.